Here we are, man. Road to the Pros, week number 23. I hope you guys are doing okay. My name is Jim Schultz. If this is the first time you're checking us out, hey, thanks for popping into this Road to the Pros series. I am kind of documenting and chronicling my journey to turn pro in the fall on the natural bodybuilding stage. And so we are now 23 weeks in to the process. So for those of you that maybe have been following along, I really appreciate your time and your attention very much. For those of you that are just popping in today, hey, welcome aboard. I hope that I don't totally turn you off today. But week 23, so last week was pretty interesting. So we've kind of got some interesting things to talk about here in terms of, you know, eating a lot of food, in terms of diet breaks, in terms of a couple of different things. But before we get started, let me make a super quick announcement. So next week, I'm actually hosting a free training the 3 secrets, which is way more exciting. The 3 secrets to losing weight and keeping it off. So that's a free training that's coming up next week. It's on Tuesday night and Wednesday night, and the link to register for that is down in the description, so you guys can easily find that. And even if you can't make it live, if you register, then you'll have access to the replay. So give that guy a look. So last week was super interesting because I had to travel for work on Monday, and it was a really, really weird kind of 24 to 48 hours, honestly, in my life, because of the time change, and the venue that we were in was like super dark, and I had to get up super early on Monday morning to be at the venue for kind of a rehearsal for what we were doing. And so basically, long story short, I felt like I was in darkness for like 48 hours. Like I literally didn't see light for like at least 2 days. And it really messed me up, man. Like mentally, I was just all like out of sorts. Like it was just a really weird phenomenon. And it kind of not reminded me, but maybe showed me what it might be like to work nights. Like for people that have to work like the overnight shift or the graveyard shift, like that's pretty difficult to do. And so my heart really goes out for all those people that have to do that on a regular basis, because I kind of experienced that, just a little bit. And so as a result of that, on Monday when I was flying home, I'm just gonna be real with you guys, man, it was not my finest moment at all. I was at the airport, I had a couple of hours to kill, and I killed it. I killed it with a nice chunk of food. I mean, bars and muffins and salads with a ton of croutons. I mean, I really went for it, man. I left no prisoner behind. And as a result, my body weight bounced up. As a result, the water flooded into my system. And so as a result, last week was really going to be kind of a throwaway week. And I'm about midway through. I'm a little bit beyond midway through. And so I don't really have the luxury to have too many throwaway weeks. But I do have a lot of time. And so when something like this happens, it doesn't totally derail the process. But I'll talk about that a little bit more here in a second. So what I decided to do was, for the remainder of the week, for the final 3 days, I decided that, hey, I'm just going to have a diet break. I decided that, hey, I'm just going to, rather than chase a new low by Saturday, which is not going to happen, right? I had too many calories on Monday. I'm not going to hit a new low by Saturday. So I need to just resign myself to the fact that we're not getting there. And so I thought, rather than, honestly punish myself with these low days on the back end of this, like a string of them, a series of them, I thought, let's just kind of ease into it. Let's just kind of eat at maintenance for a few days. In fact, I decided I'm not even going to track macros for a few days. So for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of last week, so just the last 3 days, I decided I'm not going to track macros. Now, I'm not going to CC's, and I'm not, I don't have the Asian buffet on speed dial, but at the same time, I'm just not going to track macros. I'm not going to weigh my food. I'm just going to eat the foods I normally eat. I'm going to eat, until I'm kind of full and, until I can enjoy my food, and then I'm just going to shut it down. I'm just going to call it a day. And I'll tell you, man, that did a number for me positively in terms of my mental state. Like, I really feel like I was able to recharge mentally. Like, I really feel like I was able to kind of, just kind of recharge the batteries, man. And so when you take a diet break, a lot of times there are physical reasons and physiological reasons that can help you. Like, to step out of a caloric deficit for a short period of time to maybe repair your metabolism a little bit. But normally, if you take a diet break, it's for longer than 3 days. It's usually 1 or 2 weeks, and then you kind of get back on the wagon. My objective here was not physiological in nature at all. My objective was all mental. My objective was completely psychological. And so I thought, I'm just going to take these 3 days, and then I'm going to get after it on Saturday. And here we are on Saturday, and I'm feeling pretty good. I've gotten off to a pretty decent start. You know, it hasn't been perfect. You know, sometimes the adjustment from, not tracking at all to seriously tracking, it takes me a day or two to or a month to kind of get where I want to be. But that's just real life, man. That's all just straight up real and transparent. And so that's why when I get on here to do this YouTube live today, I was like, I'm just going to tell y'all, like, what's really going on, right? I'm not going to try to pretend it's something that it's not or be someone that I'm not, because Monday I did not have a great day. Like Monday, I just, I had a little bit of a mini blowout, and it happens, man. It happens to everybody. It happens to the most disciplined people that you've ever met. And so don't ever let anybody else tell you differently or try to fool you into thinking that, just because on Instagram it's all glitter and gummy bears, that I should just run this thing wire to wire without ever making a mistake. That I should just run this thing from start to finish without ever slipping up. And if I do, then I'm a failure. If I do, then I'm never going to make it. Right? If I do, then I don't want it badly enough. I mean, the negative self-talk that you can get caught into is really serious. And I've lived that for so many years. And I have found that when you do that, you just end up in this really, really bad cycle. You just end up in this really, really negative kind of feedback loop where it's really hard to get out of that. So I decided I'm not even going to do that at all. In fact, I'm going in the other direction, right? We are just going to enjoy some food for a few days. And, that may push back the show in the fall by a week. That may mean that I can only do 2 shows instead of 3 shows. But at the end of the day, my objective this fall is to turn pro. My objective this fall is not to compete in 4 bodybuilding shows. My objective this fall is not to compete as early as I can. My objective this fall is to turn pro. And the only way I'm going to turn pro is if I get in good enough shape. And the only way I'm going to get in good enough shape is if I make it to the end. And the only way I'm going to make it to the end is if I'm aware of what's going on along the process. And I make room for these kind of, mistakes or slip-ups or just needing some rest and some fatigue management, because this is real and this is what it's really, really like. And so that's what happened week 23. Like I said, I wish it was more exciting. Go back and watch last week's. We were really fired up. I hit 190, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to hit the high 180s, no problem, next week. Well, that didn't happen, and we went in the other direction by a few pounds, but it wasn't anything crazy. And again, it's nothing that can't be undone. It's nothing that can't be, kind of remedied here. And so that's week 23. It is in the books, and I am excited to have a cleaner week this upcoming week, and I'm excited to be back on the wagon because now, looking out ahead to the schedule, I've given myself a lot of time to start. I keep saying that, and it's true. But now is where things really need to tighten up on a more regular basis. I feel like I've gotten in some nice little mini spurts of momentum, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job, all things considered. But the next 18 to 20 weeks, when we bring this thing home, we're going to need to be pretty tight every week. And I know I've said that a few times, and I feel like now I'm actually starting to feel a bit of the fire. I'm actually starting to feel a little bit of the urgency. And ironically enough, I think that's what I've been missing the whole time. I feel like I do better when I have just a little bit of fire, not a ton of fire, not like, oh my gosh, it's a total cluster, like what am I going to do? Like not that at all, but just a little bit of fire, just a little bit of urgency, I feel like really helps me quite a bit in terms of stepping up my game and being more disciplined and just improving across the board to really make it happen. So that's it, man. That's the road to the pros, week 23. That's all I got, man. Diet break, it was. Diet break, it is. And I think it was a really positive thing. So if you guys want to like the video, that would be great. If you want to share it with a friend, that'd be amazing. If you want to subscribe to the channel, that would be triply amazing. And lastly, don't forget about the free training next week coming up. The 3 secrets to losing weight and keeping it off. Secret number 1, don't have mini blowouts when you have a 2-hour break at the airport. But then we have 2 additional secrets beyond that one. So hopefully I'll see you guys there.